All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Paddo, and with me is no one because I'm solo casting by myself. But this is the AHGL, and we are going to be casting a pretty cool game here. Twitch will be our blue team, and Pipeworks will be our red team. And it looks like they are pretty honorable. Got a lot of honorable player badges there. I believe those are what those are. So stacking them up, these guys have played a lot of games. They've been pretty helpful. Fuzzy Otterballs, on the other hand, though, he's been pretty honorable as well. It's a pretty special name right there. But look at the bands really quick. Amumu, Shen, Blitzcrank, those are all pretty standard that I'm used to seeing those culprits there. Blitzcrank obviously that bottom lane, really annoying to deal with. Shen, his global map presence is ridiculous with Stand United. A lot of players running teleport as well. And Amumu just in team fights, one of the top Season 3 junglers. And really just overall, a lot of teams just don't want to have to deal with them in the slightest. And on the other side, we see bands coming in from Pipeworks, Evelyn, Vi, and Olaf. Not V for you guys out there, it's Vi. Viability, you know, that kind of fun stuff. Making it all happen. And ooh, oh, those picks. Those picks. If that's really what they're going with, I'm excited because one, actually the last game, if you had tuned in, you would have heard me talk all and just gush over Miss Fortune, how strong she is in the new her new iteration, really how she's become one of the top 80s for bot lane with that bullet time and how strong it is. But Thresh is our new support. I mean, he just came out this week, so a lot of players, unless they've had a lot of time to really dive in there, haven't got to play a lot of Thresh. But if they have, he's really strong in a coordinated team. In solo queue, in your typical normal games, probably not the best support in League of Legends, mainly because a lot of his effectiveness does come from working with his teammates. But oh my gosh, is he strong. So in case anybody isn't up to date with Thresh, he has a few awesome abilities. He actually has a pseudo Blitzcrankish like pull that it's almost like if you lost the utility of being able to cling to walls and you had Nautilus's anchor. And what it more does is it's a little bit longer than Nautilus anchor, but what it does is it kind of pulls them halfway, and then you can reactivate it again to actually suck in towards your opponent. On top of that, he also has a cool ability called, he also has his lantern, which he can actually shield teammates with, but they can also click on the lantern to jump to him. And that's really where like the team coordination and cool tricks comes into play. You can do a lot of really cool things with lantern as far as jumping over walls, escaping, initiating. You can do crazy initiates with him as well. Then he on top of that, he's also a ranged champion. If you look at him, he has a chain in his hand. Kind of seems Nautilus-esque. You would expect him to be melee, but he's not. He actually has a cool mechanic too where he picks up souls. Now he doesn't scale like a lot of the normal champions do in League of Legends, where they get a lot of magic resist and armor as they level up, or AP or any stats. He gets his from picking up souls, which drop about 20% of the time from the small creeps, every time from the large creeps and big monsters in the minion camps, as well as champions. And so he's going to be sucking up those, but it's unlimited, so he can get like an unlimited amount of armor and AP. He gets no magic resistance from it, but he does get armor and AP, and that can be really scary because after he reaches the point, which I believe it's about 80 or 100 souls equals the normal stats of a champion will get as they level up. Once he has that, everything after that is just complete, just like bonus. Tons of extra armor, tons of extra magic resist. It's really hectic to deal with. And then on top of that, he has Box, which doesn't deal a lot of damage, but it's really effective at just breaking up team fights and engages or slowing down champions if you do happen to engage on them. But a lot of pulls, a lot of really cool tactics and tricks. Thresh is a very scary champion. Combined with Miss Fortune is going to be a handful, I think, for Twitch. But Twitch, let's talk about what they got. They got Sona start off the bat, just not wanting to give away any of their strategy. Then they followed up with Kale, Mundo. Mundo very strong here. Like, I'm on board. Like, Mundo's like pseudo broken. If you can get a lot of farm with him and get him into that late stages, because his cleavers hurt so hard and he's almost unkillable. And he has CC reduction, so you can't really stop him from diving in there either. He can be a really big terror, and he has a crazy clear speed too. So overall, I really like Mundo. Actually, in the new Season 3 jungle. We also have Kale, which looks like it'll be going to be a top Kale because Twitch has picked up Ahri as well. So they're going to do Sona Caitlyn, which is going to be this really annoying poke lane, followed up by a super tanky jungler, then a pretty good range kind of AP caster shred type of champion, which is what Kayle is going to be there. Plus, you're going to have a protect for Caitlyn, so that's going to be pretty nice. And since they are blue side, like I was talking about in the last game about Kayle, if you're red side, you probably want to put her mid because you can keep her near that blue buff. Now they can put Kayle in that top lane and keep her near blue buff as well, and possibly give that to her. Maybe they'll go for it, look for an early invade to actually take the red side, or the purple team in this case is Pipeworks. Blue buff, and then they can actually trade off to both their champions. That could be an option for them, but they have rounded out their lineup with Styles on Ahri, or possibly it might be Styles on Ahri. It could be, they could switch around champions, but Ahri, pretty strong champion. She has that true damage. She can be pretty harass heavy, at least for the early stages of Morgana, until Morgana gets a chance to push back out. Because really, if Ahri just dodges Dark Binding, Morgana's never going to be able to stick on her. But as you look at the team for Pipeworks, I mean, this is the AoE team of doom. If this team stays even or gets even a little bit of a roll, once you get out of the laning phase, like, there's no way that Twitch can even begin to team fight them. Like, it's not even possible. You have Bullet Time, Unstoppable Force, Soul Shackles, and you have Wukong ult, and you have Box from Thresh. Like, that's just a crazy amount of CC. Like, if you get caught in one spot, Pipeworks team is built to absolutely just eviscerate you. There will be nothing left when the dust settles or the box goes away. Like, it's going to be very, very, very scary game for them to try to have to deal with this action. So looking forward here, I don't know. I'm pretty excited about these team comps and where they've set up. I'll actually reveal the summoners because I can do that. There you go. Nothing too crazy, but as pretty much expected, you see Super Vinland is going to be rocking the cleanse as she should be, because frankly, we just got done talking about how crazy the CC is for Pipeworks. Pipeworks is just going to be like, they're going to be all over her, and especially in that bottom lane. There's so much CC that you have to have cleanse to reasonably survive as an AD carry against this type of team comp, because she's going to be the key in a lot of cases when we get to that later game. Protecting her is going to be key, so we're going to see a lot of divine intervention from Kayle onto her, and a lot of protection coming in there. And Mundo might be a good champion through all this, because they do have a lot of CC, but he's going to be able to be tanky enough. He can probably get through a lot of it and break through a lot of it with his CC reduction, that he might actually be a pretty decent champion against this. But overall, it's going to be tough. I think Twitch is probably going to want to play keep away and try to maybe do some split protection, but they really don't have the team for it. And as you look at it too, Wukong actually has teleport. So Wukong, I believe they're putting him in that top lane, it looks like. I've seen a lot of Wukong mid recently, believe it or not. He's so good at pressuring, at least, and you get a lot of sustain there. Has great pressure, and is great for team fights, AoE team fights, and stuff like that as well. So I expect him to be actually down a lot of team fights, and see Pipeworks be very, very aggressive for objectives with that Wukong teleport. So anybody tuning in here, Twitch, obviously, they're the people running the site I'm casting this game off of right now. So they're going to be they're represented by the blue team. Pipeworks, they are actually a video game developer. They're actually part of they're actually a game studio out of Oregon. They're part of a foundation, or they're part of Foundation 9, if you haven't heard of them, and it's the largest independent game developer in North America. So they actually do some cool video games. They actually do stuff for a wide range of systems: PS3, Xbox. I believe they have a Wii U game in development right now. So really just kind of a mercenary game studio. Just does lots of games for lots of systems. And it's cool to see a lot of these game developers, and obviously Twitch, the people that I love to stream off of Twitch. Made the switch from owned a long time ago, and it looks like it's paid off for me. I've enjoyed their service a lot. So cool to get to cast them in a game and do battle. And I'm interested to see how they do against this AoE comp, because really their entire MO is going to be able to somehow get an early advantage. They have to be able to get some early advantage and get this AoE comp behind, because if you get an AoE comp behind, it's really easy to abuse, because what happens is even though they have all this AoE CC, they don't quite do enough damage, and then once you have their damage blunted, you're pretty much nice and set up for the team fights, because they can go in there, they could even catch a lot of your members and try to put a lot of damage on them, but if they don't kill you through that, then you have a really big advantage. You can come back in and win the day. It's going to be a lot on Caitlyn's spacing and their protection of her, though. She's going to be very, very key in that late game with that long auto attack range to live up. They have some good disengage with Sona. Sona actually one of the better disengaged kind of champions in League of Legends. With her Crescendo, she has a speed up for her team as well. Has some pretty good defensive bonuses that she can spread out with the aura to her team. She gets a little bit of heal in there, protect against what's going to be coming at them. So should be an interesting game. I think that Ahri and Caitlyn are, well, it's going to be tough because I think that unexpectedness of being against a Thresh in that bot lane, if they don't have a lot of experience with it, it might catch them out, might become a problem. I'm not quite sure. But we're going to have to see, because I think Caitlyn can actually have a pretty decent advantage down there. Just going to have to dodge the pulls and kind of like figure him out, trying to get used to him. I haven't played a lot against him, so I don't really have the answer of necessarily how to abuse him. I know that he is going to want to be able to pick up souls, which means he is going to be pretty predictable in his movement in lane. So you're going to be able to get a lot of good poke harass off on him if he wants to try to pick up those souls. Now he can use his lantern to pick up souls as well, which is a range kind of ability, and it kind of shields him as well. But the problem is the Lantern actually has a really, really long cooldown. So if he uses that early, then that kind of is, I guess, a way that you could look at abusing him, because he won't have that shield, won't have any tricks up his sleeve, and it's pretty costly for him to use that just to pick up souls. Although that's kind of like the standard MO, is just try to stack up souls as much as you can, like any kind of stacking champion, like a Nasus or a Viger. You really just want to keep stacking up any of those stackable items as fast as you can, because you want to get to that point where you reach the threshold where you've surpassed the normal champion progression, and now all the AP and armor you're getting is just, gravy on top. Caitlyn, I would expect a few more. So normally Caitlyn's, when you see them with their traps, looks like she's very focused on trapping for her lane. But I usually like to place wards, at least this blue side, especially down here in this bottom jungle. I've even casted previous games too, or matches where members will throw them over this wall to actually check for invades. Neither team actually warding up either side, and just really protecting their buffs. So we're going to have a pretty safe start for both teams. Looks like Malphite's going to get a hard leash, so he might save his smite, and we might see him move very, very quickly to try to take his next buff, which could be important because Mundo is one of those champions that could get really aggressive, save his smite, and run over. But we'll see what he decides to do here. He is going to be able to have... He's not going to have a lot of life, but it looks like he's going to run through the jungle, and he is going to save his smite as well. Malphite burned his smite, so Malphite not going to get that quick way through the jungle as he'd want to have. He's going to be a little bit slower because of that, but Mundo going to be a little bit quicker on the draw. And actually, nice little pull-in possibly is it looks like what happened there, because Caitlyn got pretty deep in there, but didn't really get some damage. Took a lot of damage on her way in. See some souls being picked up by Thresh so far. That bottom lane should be interesting. We see a little bit of poke harass coming in from Kayle. Kayle doesn't want to get really up fully in Wukong's face. A little guesstimation made there by Thresh, trying to gauge Caitlyn's movements to get caught by that pull, but it's not going to happen. That's going to be a lot of the early pressure. This early pressure from a Misfortune and Thresh should be strong enough that Misfortune, at least for this early stage, should have a pretty good shot at this. But I look, and so far it looks like no wards up for either team covering the jungle. They know Malphite probably started blue buff, and lucky for them, he is going to be slow, but so they don't expect him down bottom. But at least for red side, Mundo gotta expect him moving in there. He is pretty low right now. Actually ran up, got his red buff really quick. So he's going to be quickly go back, buy up, and run through, and he's just going to be leveling up really, really quickly and try to get a really quick clear on this next return back here. Lane definitely pushing towards blue. Looks like we have Tribush warding. Both supports coming up now, deciding to ward. So they are on the stage. Pink ward going down though, so they actually could fight over that to try to gain the ward advantage down there. That's actually pretty big that she saw Thresh place that ward there, because they're going to be able to control a little bit there, and it might be in Thresh's best interest to actually place on the ward and put that Tribush to try to get a little protection there. And it looks like Morgana actually landed a Dark Binding, and Ahri very, very low in this mid lane, burning through a lot of mana trying to put some pressure on to Morgana here. But Morgana has taken Flask, so she's going to be kind of a little bit of a handful to deal with. It's not going to be quite as easy as they'd like it to be. Most of the lanes very even in CS so far. Misfortune was a slight lead. We saw the lane pushing earlier. Usually when a lane's pushing, that usually means typically, at least in the early stages, they are winning out there. And that's an easy grab onto Caitlyn. Caitlyn's going to net away, but this early pressure, very, very strong, because Sona does have heals, but Eventually, the pots are going to be chugged. Caitlyn has 1 health pot yet. She's actually sustaining pretty well, so she should be able to survive through this. No big punishments yet. See Mundo coming in here, although they do have the pink ward there. They do know this is up, so they might bait this out. This could be very, very smart, because what we see here is now Thresh is going to come around here. We're going to see the slow on them. Mundo coming in, and they're going to be able to take out this ward, at least at the very least, and Miss Fortune's going to be backed off, zoned out, so Caitlyn should have free farm here, at least for now. We see there's the lantern being thrown in to gain some souls. At least in the early stages, Wukong taking a lot of harassment here. And we see it again, actually knows that is the decoy focus. Still taking a lot of pressure from Kale. Kale gets some really good pressure on that top lane. And Wukong went boots and pots. And uh-oh, Thresh face checking here. Uses that push away ability, which is kind of a tricky ability. So if anybody hasn't seen that, this is one of his other abilities, his 4th ability. I don't think I mentioned that. It's based on where you point it, it can pull people in, it can push people. It has a short range kind of around Thresh. So it's a pretty tricky ability, a fun ability to use, but it has a lot of uses. And a lot of utility to it, which is what makes it really, really cool. So you saw him actually using it there to push away Mundo, so he didn't get run down. We see Malphite making a little bit of presence in the mid lane with a little bit of red buff and slows out here. So just putting more pressure on Ahri, letting Morgana get to that phase where she can just auto farm with her pool. And just have a really, really easy time of the mid lane and keep pressure on Ahri, because Ahri is another one of those AP mids that's highly mobile, would want to get out of lane. And Morgana's a champion that'll punish those type of champions by pushing their lane very, very hard, denying them CS, golden advantage. And that's just kind of where they want it. And you see her pushing up right here, lands another Dark Binding. Soul Shackle is going to go down, but that flash just barely cancels it. Almost would have sealed the deal, but I don't think Morgana would have fully followed that. But they do know that Ahri's flash is down. That's actually going to be a very, very important thing for them. Meanwhile, Morgana still has her flash up, so they can definitely coordinate a gank onto mid lane against Ahri, who's not... Oh, actually just hit 6. So actually, Ahri did hit 6 as well, so she has hit 6 as well. So she will be a little bit elusive, but with her flash down, she is more susceptible to a pretty good gank there. Otherwise, everybody else is pretty much still with all their summoners still up, so no big advantages for either lane. No big callouts for ganks. Pink wards are down. Both wards for both lanes. You see Thresh going there trying to lead this off, but Misfortune didn't quite follow it up right away. So not a big, huge burst of damage onto Sona. Just a lot of early focus by Thresh, and then Misfortune just coming there a little bit late to try to follow it up. And Wukong, despite the heavy harass in there, he's still doing what he needs to do, which is he's still hanging up here. He's not fully getting pushed out of lane, getting pushed back or anything. Mundo doing what he has to do, which is just dodge Dark Binding. Morgana really can't do anything to you unless you get hit by Dark Binding. So I'm kind of surprised that Ahri's been caught a few times by Dark Binding, although it can happen. But once that happens, then you're susceptible to her full meal deal, her full combo, and you do not want that. So, ooh, Kayla actually coming in to follow it up. What was going to be a pull instead gets pulled herself. I think bot lane really, the way it's looking right now, the pressure that's happening, definitely a situation where once they hit level 6, that you will see Thresh actually go in instead of trying to just pull her out, pull Caitlyn out, and then you'll see bullet time come in, and it'll be a big, huge problem. If Sona's really quick on the trigger, might be able to pull off a really nice counter crescendo. But we'll have to see. Caitlyn's actually doing a really good job prepping for this, putting a lot of damage, and oh, they actually back off a little bit. There's Ace in the hole. It's going to put them back. They're going to have to back off out of this bot lane. Meanwhile, Kayle 1v2ing pretty much. Malphite came up here to try to support, try to get some relieve some pressure, and really just had to cover for Wukong as he backs up here, which is a good idea. You don't want to let Kayle completely free farm. Looks like Kale's finally going to go back as well. Wukong coming back, looks like he's definitely going to be going for the early Black Cleaver. Looks like at least Brutalizer first. But then he will be going Black Cleaver, and his ult does stacks with Black Cleaver, so will be good for him at least. And we see actually Spirit Stone coming in for Malphite, so I expect he's probably going to go the tanky Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so he'll be pretty tanky after he converts that in there. Just going to build tanky and sustain. Pretty much the MO of Malphite, who actually still remains decently tanky after the new Season 3 changes where they've changed penetration a little bit. Has that armored shell, helps him out quite a bit. He still has a decent amount of armor, so until you really start to see a lot of those Black Cleavers come into play, usually he's pretty fine. And there's Wukong looking for an opening there in this combo, but actually still eats a lot of damage coming back in. And blue buff going to be taken by Malphite, so he's just chugging those blue buffs. Knows that it looks like Morgana doesn't need it. Haven't seen what blue has decided to do with their blue buff recently. Maybe it hasn't come back up yet after last. No, it looks like Mundo actually took it. So both junglers with the blue buffs just leveling up. And Ahri actually getting caught out here. Soul Shackle should go off. No, it's not. The follow after so close, but the ult used of Ahri to get out of this. And Ahri will just barely live. That flash was down, so she had to pop her ult, that last ult, just barely getting her out of there. Luckily, Mundo was nearby to help out a little bit, but nice little engage. Again, just barely escapes that Soul Shackle. She was very close again to picking up, sealing the deal and a kill. And we are still without a first blood at 10 minutes into the game. Both teams doing very well so far to just kind of get good trades, but not actually fully get caught out yet or anything on either side. Kale just stacking up that farm, 61 to 37 versus Wukong. But I think Wukong will be okay by the end of it. But definitely something like I talked about that they need to do. They need to kind of keep this AoE team behind. They haven't really put Wukong in the doghouse at all, though. He's still very much still farming, keeping up, and his ult will still be very effective when it comes to that. And there we have the suck in. Will we see the box though? And we're not going to see it. And there's the bullet time. And yeah, box is up. So I don't know why we didn't see the box actually come in. Black shields, the charm right there. And if you have good reaction time and time it correctly, it's going to be very hard for Ahri to do much to Morgana. You're going to have to try to blow through that black shield as fast as you can, then try to charm if you want to try to pull off that combo. Definitely cannot lead with it. It looks like Morgana's actually on top of her black shield, so definitely not a strategy, although it is good to try whenever you are against a mid laner. It's always safe to just try the reaction, even if optimally they're, here's the box now, going to try to defend themselves, but Muno's going to cut through this. He just has to land another cleaver. Crescendo comes in, and it looks like first blood's going to go to Sona. She had the killer instinct. She knew what was going down. And Sinwin going to be able to pick off the first kill of the game, so Twitch getting a kill in that bottom lane. That's good for them if they can actually do some good zone out action here against Misfortune. It'll be really big for them. We saw Ahri rotate on a little bit, but again, like I talked about, Morgana pushing this lane up right away. You know, there's not Soul Shackle is going to be, and she uses her ult. She's going to use one more to try to get out of this. No, she actually is going to be eaten by Soul Shackle, and we see Unstoppable Force comes in, so close to picking up, and Random is going to be able to pick up the counter right there, and Ahri just in a little bit of trouble from this mid lane. Dark Haka just playing it really well. And there is denial in this game. I mean, not only did Ahri just die there, lose the golden experience or give golden experience to your team, but now she's going to miss all this experience here and in this mid lane. And I am sorry, but it looks like there was a kill in this top lane. And luckily, I have the ability to rewind. So we're going to rewind and see what happened up top here. We'll start off after the main kills go down here. But yeah, it looks like Divine Intervention underneath turret, easy peasy, pick up the kill. Wham bam, thank you, man. Kale's out of here. Kale just complete dominance of this top lane. Now she's going to go buy up, and it's going to get a little bit stronger for them. And mid turret being picked up as well for Pipeworks. So Pipeworks at least having a response back after they are able to pick up the kill onto Ahri. Pipeworks with that one kill and that turret have now basically brought it to an even game. So far, it looks like, as far as CS goes, the only real big glaring advantage still seems to be in that top lane, but overall everything else pretty even so far. Kills fairly even as well. I mean, Sona actually was able to pick up the first blood, which is not the scariest member of the enemy team when it comes to first bloods. Pink ward going down by Thresh. Thresh is going to win that ward battle on that river side. So they're going to have control over that. And really no warding at all, but as they're pushed up against their turret, it'll be pretty safe for Twitch in their bottom lane to just sit here and farm it up. They're not too worried yet at this point, although we're kind of getting to the late stage where Malphite's made his presence known. He's going to have his ult back up pretty soon, so we could see him come to this bottom lane, and they could possibly go for a big, huge dive if they really wanted to. It looks like Morgana actually rotating up here towards the Tribush just as the ward fades. Oh, wow. Is they going to be able to land and make something happen? So Dark Binding gets thrown, and that's going to miss. Soul Shackle, will it get popped, though? Will they commit to this? That's the question. And I don't think they are going to do that. I think Kale's just far enough ahead that she is safe, waiting for another Dark Binding. A little bit more patient on the Dark Binding, and it could be big. And, oh, wow. I think Wukong just not on the same page, because Wukong should be following that up. That should be a kill, or at least an attempt at a kill. right there. It does have Divine Intervention, but it should have been able to get picked up. And in return, it looks like Unstoppable Force is going to be used here underneath turret to try to stop this out, but the minions are still there to eat turret aggro. Otherwise, Mundo might have been in a little bit of trouble. But Malphite's... Oh, that was the wrong net that you wanted. Box is going to be just a little bit late. And Bolt Time's going to come in, but it's not going to be enough onto Caitlyn. I have to believe that was just a slight misclick, you know, with those hotkeys. But oh no, Ahri's going to be picked out in transition. She is surely dead here, unless she pulled off something really, really quick with those reaction times. Had no flash at all. And this is no good for the bottom lane's prospects of bottom turret's prospects of living at this point. We got a big, huge move on this bottom lane. 4 members of Pipeworks coming down in here, putting lots of pressure, and this is kind of what they need to do. They've come out of the laning phase pretty strong. They came out even. They came actually ahead at this point, so they're feeling pretty good about this. Wukong actually now looks like he's doing well and harassing up in that top lane. He's actually going to be able to pick off Kale, so the game is pretty much swung against Twitch at this point. Pipeworks sitting pretty with this AoE team comp. They've came out kind of in a good spot, like I was talking about earlier, and now team fighting them is going to be really, really hard to do. I mean, Kale even falling in the top lane, it's kind of a big deal. And it looks like if Pipeworks is able to follow us up and just seal the deal on this dragon, I definitely feel like they're going to have a good shot at snowballing this game. They'll be set up completely for it. The question is will we see the collapse here by Twitch? They've kind of set up in a pincer formation. They're not quite where they want to be. Looks like a lot of focus going to Mundo, which is where they would want it. If they're going to eat a lot of focus on teammates, it's going to be there. But Caitlyn coming around the backside, she needs to make sure she is not caught out here by the rest of the team. And just a little too, Twitch was pretty split there. That's a little bit scary to me. Just in the sense that, I mean, you never want to be split, and that's why I hate blue side when it comes to dragon fights. Just because you see that the team's positioning below dragon, above dragon, and it usually never works out for that team. Never works out for that team. Sometimes it'll work out, but for the most part, like, it seems a good idea. Oh, let's pincer. But really what happens is the 5 members of the opposing team just go, oh, let's just crush the 2 people instead of the 3 people, and then after they're dead, then it's a 5v3, and you're like, oh, well, that did not work out how we planned. So yeah, I would say definitely if you're ever going to contest a dragon like that, always go Mundo popping ult so he doesn't die to an ancient golem 60 minutes of the game. Real League of Legends stories. But yeah, definitely group up on one side if you're ever going to try to take a dragon in this game, because the pincer move rarely ever works unless you have a big advantage and a lot of CC that you can look up Mumu that you're going to go in and lead off with, and no one's really going to be, and the other team doesn't have a lot of discipline and focus. You can take advantage of it, but for most good teams, you're just going to get kind of crushed on one side and lose out. CS-wise, Caitlyn's still doing a good job in here. Thresh just barely missing that hook. Very, very close. No one really cracked 100 CS yet, but we're marching up towards it by multiple members of at least Twitch. All their main carries in their lanes up around 90, 95 or so CS. Wukong in a lot of trouble at this point. He's going to pop his ult to defend himself. Divine Intervention comes in on Mundo, trying to follow us up. Ignite is down. It is going to be able to finish off, so Fuzzy Otter is going to be able to take the kill up at top lane, and they're going to be able to regain control up there. Meanwhile, Morgana and Malphite trying to rotate up towards that top lane, but a nice little hook onto Sona. Sona flashing out of this, doesn't want to take a lot of the brunt of that damage, and Mundo might be caught out here. Soul Shackle is going to connect. They have the Ignite down. They do not have Divine Intervention there. Will she be able to finish it off, though? She needs a pool or a Dark Binding, probably. Those are Dark Binding, sucks him back. Auto attack, is it going to be enough? It looks like it's not going to be enough, actually, and now Mundo running for his life, pops his ult. It's going to be a little bit of extra movement speed that he needs to get away from this. And that is actually huge, because Twitch was almost on the verge of giving up 2 kills in that top lane. But luckily Mundo with his ult and Kale with a little bit of luck is able to get away. And there's the charm that just barely misses a Misfortune. Misfortune was completely on the table to be had. And lucky for her, just a little bit too much anticipation coming there by the Ahri. And she's going to be able to escape out of this. Has a lot of health, as you can see right there. Stacking it up as she tries to push back this lane, tries to clear it out, and that true damage from Ahri coming in here, combined with some Piltover Peacemaker poke. That's trouble, but there's Bolt Time in there, just clearing ways. It's usually typically what you see from her. But now it's taking turret aggro because it's fun. It's cotton candy, it's delicious. But working on this bottom turret should be able to take it because they know people are back off. Morgana actually not here too, actually. So maybe they will be able to defend this. Definitely looks like Twitch really, really wants it, though. But with Morgana there, yeah, they should back off. They know this is going to be trouble. See Malphite sniffing around, see if he can possibly find a way in there. Kale rotating back top. Going to push back out Wukong from farming all happy and nice and safe. Nowhere safe. Got to teach him early. But we see a lot of wards actually up around Baron already by Twitch. So it could be something where they're looking for possibly catching a team early when they don't expect a Baron to be had. And making that happen. That's something that I have seen from a lot of teams. If you just find the right opportune moment, notice a lot of people backing because they don't expect a Baron at 20 minutes, and then you rotate in there. With that ward advantage they have right now, could be a thing that could happen. Actually, they have most of the wards on the board. Red pretty much only has wards near this top jungle and down here by Raise. So they're pretty limited in their vision right now on the board. Pretty much just have lane vision. And, the ward by Race is pretty key, and Wukong might be able to protect himself a little bit with that bottom ward, but if they push up and around, if Ahri and Mundo rotate up after taking out this turret, possibly, or something, that would be a position where Wukong would be in trouble. See Ahri trying to juke out here, but Mundo's actually going to take a lot of the focus. Soul Shackle is going to be on to Mundo. Mundo's just going to be absolutely destroyed right there, absolutely melted. He is tanky, but he's not quite that tanky yet. We see that he is heading towards a Warmogs of some sort, possibly. He has a lot of health items in there, as well as the Spirit Stone. And we see Spirit of the Ancient Golem actually being finished on Malphite, as well as he has a Glacial Shroud and Ninja Tabby. So he's getting pretty tanky right now at this early stage again. This is a pretty big upswing for his tankiness and how he's going to be able to deal from any AD kind of carry that's trying to snuff him out. Looks like Kale finally taking the top turret at this point. Very, very strong for him. Malphite actually with 3 kills. Actually, I didn't notice that. So Malphite, he's rolling in gold. He's probably leading for his team a little bit here as far as it goes so far. 95 CS, so actually farming pretty well from that jungle. Keeping up with a Mundo, who Mundo actually has really, really good clear speed and farming capabilities. So for him to actually be ahead of Mundo and actually have a lot of presence where he has 3 kills, really good jungle by him. And there we have the pull in by Thresh again, and a lot of damage coming out. Their Bolt Time is going to be able to pick this up. Beautiful play in that bot line by Misfortune. Just completely, absolutely just owning that lane now down there. And now a lot of heavy pressure from Twitch in this mid lane. Will they be able to pick up? And yes, Fuzzy Otter, Morgana not prepared for that onslaught that just happened there. Divine Intervention on Mundo to tank this. They're going to be able to take this mid turret easy peasy. And able to pick up a kill in response. So Twitch making a good play in that mid lane, while bot lane making plays against them as well. Misfortune trying to take the safe route up here, not quite confident enough to go in there 1v3, even with a Thresh back up. Thresh, very, very nice. He's prancing right now. He's walking very, very slowly, very methodically. It looks like Caitlyn actually possibly thinking about going Infinity Edge. While we see the more common Bloodthirster from Misfortune down there. Infinity Edge actually did get a nerf. It's down about 10 damage from what it was in Season 2. Plus, Bloodthirster got a 10 base damage buff, so it's the same damage after you stack it up fully, but it is higher damage to start with. Plus the fact that Lifesteal, just as a stat, is just more expensive now and not as easy to buy. Like, you don't have a cheap $400 Vamp Scepter or 400 gold Vamp Scepter or Doran's Blades that gave you damage and lifesteal. So, Vamp Scepters and Bloodthirster, it just made it such a better item that's why we're typically seeing Bloodthirster on a lot of AD carries now, as opposed to the Infinity Edge like we used to see, where Infinity Edge was just the go-to item to use and have and be with. Looks like they might be setting up a trap here, possibly. I don't know why else they'd be sitting in the brush. Looks like Mundo just poking around. They realize Misfortune might be down there by herself. They have 4 members down there, so if they sneak around, they could make something happen. Although we do see that they do have a ward up there, but Thresh might be caught out here. Charm is going to land, and Thresh cannot help himself. A little bit too attracted to the Ahri now at this point. Box is going to go up to try to slow. Will be able to survive through this. He is a little bit tanky, but that Ignite is going to be able to seal the kill for them. And Neymar, we see Kale actually dealing a little bit with Morgana down here in mid lane. And will she try to fight this out? Dealing a lot of damage to Morgana actually at this point. You can see that Leandri's Dot as well as that Nature's Tooth. I mean, she has her setup now, has that blue buff, but the rest of her team hasn't coming in now. Now they're going to come in. Crescendo is going to make Malphite dance a little bit. There's the slow coming down, and oh, the net over by Caitlyn trying to run down this Malphite. Will they be able to pick it off? Just needs another hit, and Misfortune, unfortunately, just going to die in the onslaught that's coming in from Twitch TV. Piltover Peacemaker going to pick off the last member, and now they're going to press down on this bottom turret. And what was a really, really good team fight team that I was really excited for to possibly snowball this game, getting picked apart a little bit by Twitch. Twitch coming in here, making some good plays around the map, splitting up that team fight team, and they're never really just getting off one big, huge team fight like they'd want to do with this really heavy AoE CC comp. They just kind of died while trying to back off, lost a lot of CC that way, died in a pitched battle where they couldn't quite deal enough damage to the strongest member of Twitch right now, which is this Kale. And now we see them pressing onto this base turret, and this is huge. Wukong top not actually with the team at all, and nice Soul Shackle coming in here after dodging the charm, and we're going to see an Hourglass as Twitch backs off out of this Mercant, just trying to protect yourself a little bit. So good defense right there, not losing on their base turret. That would be really, really bad at this stage of the game. We're about 25 minutes in. There's no wards pretty much on the map, but there's a few wards from Pipeworks down that bottom jungle of Twitch's on the blue side, but really, otherwise, I expect both teams to start warding up again and ward a lot more aggressively towards the Baron side, because that's become a big objective as we go farther on this game. We see the Pain Train actually kind of following in the wake of Twitch as they run through their own jungle and try to back off here, maybe thinking to get a little bit of vengeance at the scenario that just went down against them. And Twitch, they're only a K behind. They still have a very scary, strong AoE teamfight team. I mean, you cannot underestimate this team at all. It's scary, and we can already see Misfortune going for a Black Cleaver. So that bullet time is going to hurt so bad, especially combined with Wukong. Wukong actually has, it looks like he is going for his Bloodthirster as well, has a Tiamat, could turn that into the next level item, have a lot of AoE damage mixed in, a little more extra AoE damage mixed in there. His Crushing Blows will hurt a lot in team fights. So kind of like the path they're still going on the other side. Again, as I pointed out, Leandry's Nature's Tooth online, so we're gonna have Kale in her full build setup here. She's gonna be ready to tear her enemy apart. DFG for Ahri, so has a lot of AP in there, and we see that Caitlyn actually has Finisher and Fitting Edge as well. Picking up the Vampiric Scepter to talk about a little bit more expensive now, but she does need that in there. But overall, she's going to deal a lot of damage, but really, Misfortune's damage is going to come from that bullet time. Once that bullet time comes in, the team, if Twitch is caught out, they're just going to get melted, so going to be pretty interesting. Twitch is going to have to be really on their game as far as positioning goes. They're going to have to pick out single groups or members of Pipeworks, or they're just going to have a really, really solid engagement where they don't get picked off and they're able to take out a key target right away and run their own disruption. And Kale is going to eat a lot of the brunt of this initial focus. Going to Divine Intervention through the bullet time, but still going to take a ton of damage. They're able to actually take down a member of the enemy team now. Wukong looks like he's going to be able to get onto Caitlyn. Actually going to decoy to make sure he can seal the deal. Is going to be able to get that assassination off. Sona trying to back off this. Unstoppable Force popping them up in the air. Sona is very, very close to falling, but using that heal as well to try to protect them. Ahri, I can't believe Ahri is still alive at this point, and Twitch is barely living through all that with so many members of their team so low at this point, and able to pick up 3 for 1, and that is really huge for them. Really well played for them. Never really got fully caught in a big AoE, and a lot of the additional damage just focused on and eaten up by Kale, who didn't even die in the process. So at least a big fight for them, although a lot of members had to back off, so they might actually lose a turret. This is the correct response from Pipeworks. They might have lost a team fight, but if they can take this turret, it'll be a little bit worth it. It'll give them a little bit of team gold, but we see a lot of the members of Twitch racing back out here to meet up with the Pipeworks team and try to push them back off out of this. See a big, huge wave down in that bot lane pushing in here. Is going to put a lot of pressure on that lane. Should draw some attention from Twitch, which means that if Pipeworks is paying attention to that, they might be able to make a play on the map, but it looks like they haven't quite grouped up for anywhere yet. Just a few wards going down on their own jungle. Looks like Caitlyn and Sona are going to come down here and clean up as much of this as they can. Kale and Ahri running out here. Looks like a pink ward put down by Ahri potentially. To gain some Baron advantage. See Mundo actually jumping out there. And Kale actually really, really deep here. She's going to be able to get out of this, though. I mean, right now, she's just a terror for her team. Has that blue up. You need to be a little bit careful, though. It's still 4v2. I mean, you can be as buff as you want, but 4v2 is still trouble. As far as summoners go, looks like pretty much most of the flashes burned are going to be down for Caitlyn and Ari. On the other hand, all the flashes up for Pipeworks here. And Pipeworks has all the ability to initiate, really. They can initiate in a big way. They have so many flashes, so many tools that if they can just get Twitch to get focused in on here, somehow get them committed at all. I mean, this is on. I think that could have been a good spot for them to possibly go in if they had decided to go in there, but it's just going to look like they're going to back off out of this. Play it safe. Just, you know, when they feel they fully have the chance to go in, they might do that. It looks like Pink Ward coming in now actually for this dragon, so they're actually going to have full vision over this. Red pinging through here towards this blue buff, but easily picked up that dragon very, very quickly. And Pipeworks playing a little tentative. They know they have a really good team fight team, it looks like, but I think they're just not quite ready to quite engage, and they need a lot more wards, to be fair. Looking in here, we see that Twitch actually has very, very good ward coverage all over the map. They have a lot of pink wards, so they've removed a lot of the vision of Pipeworks, and Pipeworks really just doesn't have a shot at trying to know what's going on with Baron at all at this point, or know what's going on anywhere in the jungle. And that's pretty key for an AoE team, because if an AoE team, you know, takes the first punch, they have to scramble a lot to try to throw down their CC. It's not quite as clean as when you get to know where your enemy is, set it all up, suck them in, or catch them out. It's a very, very different thing is when you have to try to react and scramble your AoE CC versus setting it up yourself on your opponent. And right now, map and vision control is completely in Twitch's favor. So far, they're lacking a little bit around Baron now, but as far as Dragon is and just up in the enemy jungle, they have complete control over in that area. Both teams just kind of farming up a lot of members going top at this point, which is kind of interesting. Maybe they thought Twitch might have been up there, so just wanted to protect themselves, make sure no one gets picked off by themselves. Morgana sitting in the brush down here, just trying to farm up. Is like, you can't see me, I swear. Don't do Baron. It's not going to happen. They can do a lot of interesting split push stuff if they want to with Wukong, because Wukong does have teleport. So if they do want to kind of split him off to spread out the enemy team and bring him in for a team fight, they could try to do that. They could go that route. That is an advantage they do have over their opponents. No real teleport abilities or anything like that. Split pushing abilities that we see from the enemy team. But it looks like Kale pushing up here. Pushing that top lane. All the other lanes pushing. Bottom lanes pushing. Middle lanes getting met by Pipeworks at this point. But it is a pushing lane for them. They've got all their lanes pushing, which is a good thing if you want to, when you get to these later stages of the game, you want to try to close out the game. You want to get all your lanes pushing so you can rotate between towers and objectives and keep your team running around. As we see a lot of Pipeworks efforts actually being into getting control over this dragon, when really that's not going to be the big main stage as we go farther in this game. We're about 32 minutes into this game, which means that more than likely we're not going to be in a situation where dragon's going to be the end all break all, or it's going to be necessarily be, if you're in position for it, you can take it really quickly, you'll do it, but you're not going to really just drag out fight over unless you have a good chance of, you know, catching your opponent by surprise, taking him out, something like that. But I expect more of the attention to be around this Baron buff as we go on here in this top jungle. Blue buff being very, very stubborn right now for Morgana. Looks like it's resetting, so Morgana cannot actually take this. She has to take way too much damage. And Twitch, knowing that they have full vision here, just going to start to take this Baron. And Thresh hasn't even looked yet. They're going to take the red buff, but yeah, they just don't have any idea this is going down. And this is going to get really bad in a second if they get caught out. They do have a good AoE team, though. I mean, they're still not completely... They're by no means huge behind. I mean, if you look at the gold, they're only down about 3k gold. So in a team fight, they can still absolutely decimate and melt Twitch if Twitch just gets caught wrong. So Twitch still has to be mindful of that, but their poke and the siege that's going to be able to happen right now for them is going to be a lot more efficient. As long as we don't see anything wasted here to try to clear the waves. But I mean, really, this is actually kind of a big make it or break it. And there we see Wukong go in there, going to catch a lot of members. Box is going to be coming in. bullet times coming in, a lot of damage coming here. Soul Shackle will finish onto Mundo. Mundo trying to deal some damage as he comes out. Mundo finally will fall. Kale finally getting focused. A lot of damage flying towards here. Is going to be able to clean up Thresh, but a lot of the key members of Pipeworks are still up now. Sona's going to fall as well, and that is going to be an 8th, even with that buff like I was just talking about. Wukong getting there, doing a lot of damage, coming back into the fight, and that AoE team, that's what we're talking about. You know, they got really confident with that Baron, but the problem was that it just made him, it put him in a funnel corridor where it was easy for Pipeworks to finally land and line up all this AoE that they had in store and really crush them in a team fight. Even with Baron, they weren't that far ahead, and there you see it. Pipeworks even out the kills, even out the gold, possibly taking a base turret here. It looks like they will take a base turret. That should be for sure. They're going to work on an inhibitor. Question is, will they be able to tear it down fast enough? It looks like they will be able to, and that is a huge, huge swing for Pipeworks at this point. Down about 3K, now up about 2K. So yeah, big, big team fight for them. You can see all the ward vision, and Twitch did everything right to set up that Baron, get the Baron, but then they just kind of ended up playing Pipeworks' game by going in there and pushing that turret and letting Wukong get very, very deep on them, and they were all bunched up for it. And even though they did a decent job of not taking the brunt of a lot of bullet time and stuff like that, they were completely armor shredded by Wukong. Bullet time cleaned up a little bit, but overall, when the dust settled, it's like you take so much damage, you're CC'd for so long, and you saw most of the time Twitch was just spending their time running as opposed to trying to fight it out. So Twitch still very much in this, with a lot of gold. Pretty good to him. They just need to, again, keep their ward vision up, and then try to get some pickoffs and try to get Pipeworks back in that game of not being sure and running around their own jungle and not having full vision, and setting up something on them. Because right there is like, again, it was just one of those situations where they're like, all right, so you're right in front of us. We finally can see all of you. You're pushing our turret. You have Baron buff, but we have all the AoE CC and damage ever. And they executed very, very well. Twitch picking up a dragon, that'll actually bump them back into a gold lead here, but for the most part is going to be everything. Sona getting caught out here. That's actually going to be a big deal because they will not have that ult, and Caitlyn's going to be able to caught out here too as well. And this is all sorts of trouble for Twitch. They were looking so good, had a big advantage, and then you start to see, you know, maybe mentally some starting to fall apart a little bit. Nice catch by Thresh. Another more damage coming in. Divine Intervention. Thresh up again. Kale even comes back in. Luckily dodges the Dark Binding. Otherwise, she would have definitely been marked for death. So much pressure coming in right now by Pipeworks. You see it now. Ari, not long for this world, jumping out just barely. And we see Malphite cleaning up with his Ice Shard. Mundo getting very, very deep here, but I'm sorry, buddy, there is enough damage for you now at this point. And it looks like Pipeworks might be trying to just house them right now. Although they've kind of gotten a little bit low, so they're backing off out of this. Surprised they haven't decided to take any turrets. They should definitely rotate top at least, at the very least. Try to take out that. Looks like Malphite's going bottom as well. I think they thought that they could maybe press that all the way home, but overall a tough proposition. It's 37 minutes in. A lot of members came back up, but we're going to see 2 turrets go down now. Even more gold for Team Pipeworks. And probably at this point, Pipeworks, with the rest of Twitch up, they know Baron will probably be up in the next couple of minutes, so they're going to just probably expect them to go back, buy up, get even beefier for the next team fight, and then see them come back into it. Multiple black cleavers. Morgana has her Hourglass and Rabadon's Death Cap, so she's pretty much at her standard max, little not max potential, but pretty good. Like, you know, things are going good potential. You know, she got her 2 big expensive purchases off the shelf, and now she can actually just work in some penetration if she needs to against any magic resist in case they build a bulwark or something like that. So far, it looks like nothing like that coming from Twitch, though. Rageblade actually as well onto Kale. So Kale getting pretty beastly, but it looks like the rest of her team kind of falling before she has a chance to really be a big, huge factor for her team. Arya with a lot of mobility, but really just their carries just kind of getting caught in the shuffle, and Sona getting caught in that last engagement really didn't help them. And really just Caitlyn following up too. I mean, a lot of times you just need to be like, all right, Sona was caught. We just need to cut our losses, get out of there as fast as we can, try to 4v5 this, and do the best we can with that. Because scenarios like that where you lose multiple members, especially your AD, becomes really, really hard to try to defend stuff. So heavy wards from Pipeworks into Twitch's side. Twitch just kind of getting us some basic wards. I don't know if they need wards near bot lane though. It looks like they're just trying to use it to protect Caitlyn, as Caitlyn's kind of pushing up solo in this bot lane. But really, it looks just going to blue pill back here. But really, they don't need a lot of warding down there. We need wards mainly in their own jungle and around Baron. Baron's going to be the next big control point for Vision. We're going to see come in here. And a Guardian's Angel for his Misfortune. So Misfortune's going to be even harder to take down. And Wukong just getting stacked up as well. There's those extra items I was talking about. A little bit of extra health coming in there. Malphite's just absolutely beast as far as armor is concerned. And they really don't have any armor penetration. So Caitlyn's ability, like, she does a lot of damage and she crits, but a lot of it's going to be mitigated by Malphite. And Malphite's actually going to be going there, slow a lot of her attack speed as well. Really overall, just big advantage as far as I see it for Pipeworks at this point. But Twitch, they can make something happen if they just gain. It looks like they're working on vision control over here, but if they gain that and then they can work that into something, maybe pick someone off. They could be well set up. And it looks like actually a counter push from Pipeworks into the main base. Morgana alone pushing this inhibitor. It's kind of cute. No one else backing this off. I think they if they all would have focused in on there, there's nothing. I mean, Twitch's response would have had to been to blue pill. They could try to Baron, but they would lose their base in the time they would Baron. So I think it would have been a good option right there if Pipeworks actually decided to actually commit to that. They easily would have got the inhibitor before Twitch would even came back. And they still had that pink ward up there for Baron, because it looks like Twitch actually ran out of pink wards to try to scan that area. It looks like they decided to go just push on a mid. Like if I was Pipeworks at this point, I'm probably thinking that my team fight's so strong that you suck them into the jungle. Which it looks like Twitch is actually taking a little bit of a smart route. They're actually going to go outside now. Realize that going into the jungle is the worst place to be against the AoE team, so they're going to take the smart route. Thresh is going to eat some cupcakes because he has a sweet tooth. It's true. I actually don't even know if he has teeth. But the way they should go about this is they just need to push onto the inhibitor, because that's going to force a 5-man team fight if they want to stop the inhibitor going down. And that's perfect for you. That's perfect for Pipeworks. I mean, it's like, all right, you're going to just pitch fight us 5v5. That's great. That's what we want to do. That's their mouth. But it looks like they're going to push him with a wave, but really they don't need to. There's no turret there. It'll help a little bit, I guess, but for the most part, they really should just go in. And there we go. We're seeing the initiation right on the Caitlyn. Caitlyn's going to be backed off this. Bolt time's almost going to melt her entirely. Heal coming in for Sona. It's not going to be enough. A lot of other focus coming down. Mundo even's going to be torn down in the process. Thresh's box is finally going to kind of fall here, but the rest of the members being able to take off the inhibitor. They do have it locked up 3-0 so far. Chased after by Wukong, putting a lot of pressure onto Kale. Kale's going to try to get out of this. Gets a little bit of that speed boost. Now they're focusing on this bottom Nexus turret. Looks like they are going to be able to take the game. Pipeworks, that superior AoE team comp just paying off for them right now. Some big team fights. And Kale, as valiant as she's going to be here, there's no way she's going to stop this Nexus from going down. And there you have it. Pipeworks taking the AHGL game against Twitch. And I thought Twitch played it, as the team comps went, I thought they played it very, very well for what was going on. And picking up that Baron was a very, very good play for them. But overall, in the end, unfortunately, I think the Baron was their undoing, because it gave them the confidence to go push, and then that really just set up the big, huge team fight there. Obviously, Pipeworks winning that very, very big with an ace, and then taking that and then snowballing the rest of the game. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I am Paddo. You can find me on Twitter at